Thank you very much. Please, can we still have questions from the audience? Okay. Please, there's someone here. Thank you.
Good morning, Pastor. Good morning, church. So I'm having 2 questions. Now, I'll use my friend as a case study. He just walked up to me one day and he was like, Leye, what's happening? Wow, imagine, I'll be running around thinking of what to do. Okay, what exactly is the problem? He said, there is this young lady, I love her so much. We'll be going out for years. But suddenly, just found out she's cheating on me. I was like, how do you get to know? I was just walking along the corridor, one of the classrooms there, and I saw her with a guy. Wow. I said, okay. So I was like, God, what's the meaning of all this? Now I said, so my question is, sir, how can I truly know someone that loves me? How can I truly know? Because fine, she may be around you every time, but behind you, they actually know what she's doing. It's not that maybe we are very close to wedding or so that's when I'll hear, oh, I'm sorry, Leye, there's nothing like that, stuff like that. And the second question is, now there's this friend of mine too that came to me and was like, Leye, you know so well, I'm in a serious relationship. I said yes. But my problem is, you know, I'm handsome, I'm jovial, I'm friendly and stuff like that. So what's the problem? He said, you know what? Virtually all the times I have females around me and my girlfriend is complaining. Text from every side. You, Leye, I'm missing you. Labaja, I'm missing you. I want you around me. But to be frank, it's not having anything to do with them. But because of his personality, friendly, jovial, and stuff like that. And the wife keeps complaining. What are you doing with all these girls? What? He keeps explaining. Nothing, just friends. In that situation, what can I do? Just to secure and to keep my friend or to keep my relationship. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I want you to get this very clearly. Love is not the feeling you have, but the action you do. You see, everybody has a feeling. But love is not just feeling. Love is an action. Love is not just a thing of the emotion. It's an act of the will. Love is a principle. And so if you say you love someone, it's not just the feelings. The Bible says, if you love someone, do not just love someone in words, love someone in deeds. But when it comes to a marriage relationship, love is not just the only thing that governs it. Love may take you to marriage, but commitment will keep you there. In a marriage relationship, it is not the sentiments of the honeymoon we talk about. It is the conviction of a trusted man or a trusted woman. And so, when you want to marry someone, or when somebody gets married to you, or when somebody is in a relationship with you, what you want to look at is not so much whether he loves you, but whether he does those things that authenticates his love, or whether that man or that woman is a person of principles. The moment the person is not a person of principles, then that love doesn't stand. That relationship will not work. And when the person begins, when he's still in courtship, to begin to flirt around to another relationship, that person is not going to have a consolidated marriage. The Bible says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. But having said that, some people can love someone and can sometimes move to obsession and infatuation. And that people can also have jealousy. Now, if you find that as someone who is always jealous about your spouse, I see somebody with you, I see another person with you, that again that's a problem. You must address that problem. That you are a jealous person, you are a person that is not at rest when you see your husband or your spouse or your wife with someone. Because if you don't address that problem, you will never be at ease. You will never be at ease. You will never be comfortable. You are the type who will not allow your husband to concentrate in the workplace. You will not allow your wife to do any other thing. You know, you are likely going to keep on checking his text messages, trying to hack through his emails, going constantly to look at his pockets and see where there is a note. That is very neurotic, and sooner or later it can lead to psychosis. And so you must avoid it. Try avoid it as much as possible. Now what I want to say this, you see, we are all different. Some are sanguine and they are social, they reach out to people. Some are phlegmatic, they are easygoing and reserved. Some are choleric, they are very practical. and some are melancholists. They are sadistic, analytical, and critical. Now, God created us in different forms. When we get married, we don't deform our personality, we transform it. Marriage is getting into someone's own world without losing your own identity. It's recognizing the differences in the two personalities without trying to obliterate them. And so when you get married to someone, most importantly is trust. When there is no trust in marriage, marriage becomes oppressive, marriage becomes tyrannical, and marriage becomes something that is not good. It becomes fear. And when there is fear, there is no love. Because perfect love casts away fear. When you trust someone, the person begins to live up to his trust. When you believe someone begins to live up to his belief. And let me tell you, a man who has been used to several people wouldn't one day stop and blow off all this for all of his life. Now it also comes to that same man. When you know you get married, the important thing is that you must realize that your spouse is first. Your spouse must have the first attention. Your spouse must have the number one attention. You must make everyone realize that your spouse is number one. You must make everyone realize that you are not shopping for another wife. You must give that confidence to everybody around you. And at the same time, your wife should make you understand that you should not be eccentric. You should not live as a monk. You should not be in an island. You should not make a recluse out of you. Between making a recluse out of you and also he's trusting you, there's a thin balance. And that can come when you mutually understand one another and relate to one another, and relationship develop from there.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Now, in your response to this, you said love is beyond feelings. But you want to check if there are actions that are correspondent or that authenticate the love of a fellow for you. Now, this brings me to the question we have here. Now, this from a lady, and she says, my husband has confided in me of his feelings towards one of his colleagues who happens to be a friend of the family. Now, ever since we talked about it, I have not been able to take my mind off it. I find it difficult to accept the fact that my husband could even have such thought about another woman. Of course, I appreciate the steps my husband took on the issue, but I think maybe it would have been better if I never knew about his feelings. Now, are there things couples can keep from one another, or must all be always said?
Well, if you say, are there things couples must keep from one another, it's a very, very open-ended question. I think you must understand the woman you have married. You must understand the husband you've married. But you must not go all the way to hide information that you know is very useful to a good relationship. And when you are going to give an information to your spouse, you must give that information in such a way that you will not arouse in that woman a negative mentality. All is management of a relationship. No one can tell you the hard and fast rule, this is the way you must treat your spouse. But hiding information from your spouse, in an unholy manner, is not scripturally acceptable. The truth about it is this: when you disclose certain information, the power those informations have over you is destroyed. For example, if you are the type who is used to doing something evil, the moment you open to tell someone that this is what I'm doing, I have a tendency to do something evil, the moment you say that openly with your mouth, those things lose the power over you. And so telling your spouse about it may be one way of your confronting the truth, of you exposing yourself to the truth, and of your getting free from it. But when you don't understand the person you married, at certain times your spouse may not be that mature to take certain information, you must make sure that information you give her, for example, you may just tell your spouse that you have a feeling towards a person, and your spouse will just tell you, he knows that that person is carrying, you are the one that gave it looks like you, and that creates a problem for you all at home. You don't rest. You wake up in the morning, it comes at 2 o'clock. You say, are you not sure that is your... And that becomes a very big problem. So no one can manage your wife for you. Look at the man and look at the woman you have married and for goodness sake, relate to her as she is. Now, when it comes to the man having feelings, I don't know of any man in this world who doesn't have feelings for women. I've not met one. The only person I've known doesn't do it is Jesus Christ. And I wasn't opportune to be alive when Jesus was there. Now, but feelings must be put under control. The Bible says, guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows out the issues of life. When you notice there is a feeling which is becoming so intense that it is not taking the totality of your life, or that it's not directing you off your target, question that feeling and bring it to a stop very early. Let me say, it does not matter how beautiful a woman is. It does not matter how ugly a woman is. It does not matter how poor a woman is. It does not matter how rich a woman is. It does not matter how poor a man is. The moment you have an affection for someone, you can go for that person. Affection is the dividing rule that allows people to drive. It's not just the beauty. It's not how good the woman is. And so the best thing is to put a guard around your affection. And when the affections are coming, just begin to put a stop to those affections. Make sure you realize them. Make sure you take solid principles against them. But much more than that, I believe men should know you as a Christian. If you are at work, you don't go with the Bible. You don't talk Jesus Christ. You don't speak about the love of God. Every now and then you are receiving phone call here, phone call there, phone call there. Nobody here you talks about Jesus Christ. Anybody that comes to you and you discuss. There are no boundaries to your life. Anybody can visit you anytime. Anybody can call you at any time. You are so good to everybody that you don't have principles on what determines who you should relate to or who you should not relate to. You are please everybody somebody. And if you are please everybody kind of a person, you will go into wreck. One day, one person will stand up to destroy you. And so the important thing is have a principle for a relational principle. This is how I am going to relate to people. These are the kind of persons I'm going to relate. These are the boundaries that I have set up in my life. And when people know your relational principles, they key into it. And before you know, you protect yourself from those things. But if you know you are very vulnerable, if you know you are the type of person whom, when you relate to someone, before you know, you begin to have ideas in your head, then take all those checks and balances God has put around you. Your wife, a good friend, you know what I mean? Doing things in the open, not counseling in secret. And all those things that are mechanical can be very helpful to the vulnerable. But that thing alone itself does not make the vulnerable great or very vulnerable pure. But set those boundaries and ask God for divine strength, and you will get there.
Thank you very much. We'll take a break now, and when we come back, we'll still be with Reverend G. Erhabor, and then you have the floor. We have an interlude. Thank you.